triggering change one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio. If you want to check me out and all the other shows out available to you, go to mojo50.com/schedule, and you can see all the shows available to you. If you want to interact, you can go to facebook.com/Battle for Freedom. I see Linda's already there. Thank you very much for joining and being part of the program. And if you want to stay on top of a lot of the different things that we cover here, I would suggest that you look into Mojo. No. You have to start this off with American Pride Roasters coffee. I'm sorry, I hadn't had any this morning because of the fact that yesterday, I had too much American Pride Roasters coffee. I was driving my wife up the wall with as much caffeine. I was over caffeinated yesterday. American Pride Roasters coffee is historically great coffee, and it can also make you a little batty. And my wife wanted nothing to do with that crazy guy who was just like, leave me alone, Negro. Well, she didn't use the Negro part, but she did want me to leave her alone because I was a little bit too wired. Like I almost sound like I'm wired right now. But American Pride Roasters coffee, historically great coffee. You can't go wrong going with American Pride Roasters coffee. I like it. You like it. We should all like it. I see that Carolyn, I see Heidi, I see Carolyn and Heidi, and Lisa too said hello to Linda Zhu. I can't pronounce her last name, like Shubleski, or Skubluski. Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to screw up your name. As Watson bit into the Colombian. You never know. I can either confirm nor deny. So I can either confirm nor deny as we sit here and we try to get through a lot of this stuff here. Oh, thanks. I'm glad I said it. I said it right the first time. But today I want to talk to you about calling the expert Witless. Now, of course, this is a play on words. Instead of calling the expert witness, we're calling the expert witless and winning by limited engagement. And I think that this is for us. This is for what I'm about to share with you is for our sanity. This is for the sanity of every last one of us involved who we want to have good discussions with people. But the problem that we run into is there are some people that they're not wanting to engage in discussion. They just want to engage in wasting our time. I had a friend who best stated this in the past, that some people are just psychic or psychological vampires because their whole purpose is to suck life right out of you. And they have nothing better to do than make our lives miserable. And sometimes they're completely clueless. And they make our lives miserable, and we have to basically, I'm sorry, I'm just getting a couple things ahead for you. Hey, Jamie, thank you for being part of it. Now we have a full Monty. We have the full crew of Ain't You a Peach is available to you on the weekends on Mojo5 Radio. Lep and Jamie are here. Robert, thank you for joining and being part of the program. Appreciate you, brother. I hope you weren't in Facebook jail. Again, we win by limited engagement, not too much engagement, because I don't see Curtis. I kind of feel like he's probably already been taken out, so I don't know what he's done. But calling the expert witless is really about looking. Oh, he's here. Curtis is here. Cool. It's really about us trying to realize that hey, Sarah, we've got a Sarah. There's a lot of people here today, so really enjoying this. It's really about dealing with a lot of the craziness that people refuse to listen. All the experts that said that this was going to happen this way, this was going to happen that way, and it didn't. We were lied to. We were lied to. The data that we were hoping would be consistent in making us feel safer, making us feel more comfortable and relaxed and nothing to worry about. No, we were lied to. Let's see. Let's go over some of the different things that I see here that kind of annoys me because of the fact that, man, I'm not going to lie to you. We have sat here. We have been misled for far too long, and it's time for us to put an end to this. I got a lot to cover, so I'm sorry I've been stalling here as I'm trying to get this last thing ready for you here as I'm covering all my data. There's a lot of information here that we're going to be covering today. Let's go with the first one while I'm getting this stuff ready, okay? So thank you for your patience as I successfully stall, or maybe not so successfully stall here. First one here is what we've already always known is, wow. They said that the cannabis use has jumped a ridiculous amount. Cannabis use, yeah, here it is. Cannabis use has rocketed up by 20% in states where it has been legalized, says new study on a drug with negative outcomes that is rapidly becoming nationwide. Study focused on 111 pairs of identical twins with siblings split across states with contrasting cannabis laws. Those living in states that had legalized adult recreational cannabis used it 20% more often. The study raises questions about changes in health and behavioral consequences of more pot use. You know, for crying out loud, we knew this was going to happen. When they told us this wasn't going to happen, we're like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. We're going to have a whole bunch of potheads. And we're like, oh, well, and the thing I always hear from people, oh, pot doesn't make you aggressive. It just mellows you out. There's nothing for you to worry about. I'm just kind of like, really? Because as I sit here and I look at this, there are a lot of people whose lives have been negatively affected. Have you been looking at the news with car crashes and so much more? Oh, we don't want to deal with that truth. We don't want to cover that. Yes, Robert says, exactly. Not a surprise that the government would lie to us. And here it is again. We're looking at a whole bunch of people who are suffering. Curtis says the munchies make you fat. I'm not going to touch that one. I'll leave that one alone. But again, here it is. We shouldn't be quick to pass everything. We shouldn't be quick to legalize everything. Oh my goodness. Well, Lep says drunk people run stop signs and stone people wait for them to turn green. That's funny. I like that. That's good, Lep. That's good. But here it is. The experts said this wasn't going to be an issue, but we'll still let the studies decide because it's been a few years now that many of the states have decided that they're going to go with their pro-pot legislation that is affecting people negatively again. Let's look at another one here. You have Jill Biden, First Lady. She tests positive again after taking Paxlovid. Now, again, the narrative has changed over and over and over and over again. And, you know, there's this Paxlovid is selling like crazy. And all the other different things that are out there are selling like crazy. And many of us have said, you know what? What is it called? The people who said follow the science. The problem with following the science is the science usually follows the money. The problem with following the science is usually the science follows the money. And here it is again. She tests positive again, and we have to keep her praying. Yeah. And it's like, hello, over and over again. Hey, Brandon, thanks for joining, being part of the program. He says, governing never lies. They mislead the truth. Yeah. Mislead. And we get in a lot of trouble. when we go through that, of constantly believing that they have our best in mind. So here it is, Jill Biden again, and she's not the only one, over and over and over again, who continues to get COVID. And it's like we're supposed to trust that this system is working. And it's like, I'm not getting a good, warm and fuzzy feeling from you because of the fact that you guys keep getting it wrong. You keep getting it wrong, and I just don't know exactly how far we're going to go with this. Keep her in prayers. I'm not sitting and listen, folks, let's not sit here and wish and hope the worst is going to happen with Joe Biden. Please, let's not go there. Just not a good idea, not a good plan on doing something like that. Please, let's rise above the occasion and do better. But here's another one that I thought was very interesting with respect to the laws. Statins. Here it is. Statins should be taken for life. Heart benefits of cholesterol-busting pills are almost entirely lost if patients stop taking them in their 80s, studies find. Around 8 million Britons and 32 Americans take cholesterol, I guess assuming 32 million, Americans take cholesterol-busting statins, but up to half the patients are thought to stop taking the drug due to the side effects. What? Because of the side effects. But you know what? You remember they said that we have experts who basically say taking a jab outweighs the risks of taking the jab. We were told for so long, keep taking an aspirin, popping an aspirin a day, you'll be fine. We find out that actually hurts you. Taking an aspirin every day. We now find out there are side effects of taking statins. We find out there's side effects to a lot of the different things that the government says it's okay for us to do. You can drink a lot of wine. You shouldn't drink too much wine. You can have eggs every day. You shouldn't eat eggs every day. You can have some sugar every day. You can have chocolate every day. It's healthy for you. You shouldn't take chocolate. It's not healthy for you. Which one is it? And as we sit here playing Russian roulette with our health and our lives or medical roulette, because following the science, following the experts, the expert witnesses, where they're more or less expert witnesses, we have a problem. And people are dropping like flies over and over and over again. I'm going to do this one here. I'm going to do this one because, I got to wait because the fact that, there it is. Jamie has something, and this has to go online because I can't cover it here. The Greek word, or pharmakia, pharmacy, the use of drugs or medicines, sorcery, witchcraft. And now you know the rest of the story. Yeah, no thank you. Hey, here's another one that, again, people kept telling me that I didn't know what we were talking about. Yeah, no, I'm not a real estate agent. But I've been studying and watching things for a very long time. Longer than my wife and I have been married, I have been watching the real estate market and all the surrounding areas of the Indianapolis region and its external areas. But they said U.S. housing market is in much worse shape than the Fed is letting on. And sharp drops in prices are on the horizon as policymakers work to lower inflation, economist warns. Ian Shefferson, chief economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics, said in a note to investors that he believed the housing market was grim. Sales of new family homes hit their lowest level in nearly 7 years. In July, falling 12.6% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 511,000. He says the Fed's policy of increasing interest rates to try and cool spending was hampering the housing market, making mortgages less available. He said that he expected house prices would continue to fall, and the worst is yet to come. The worst is yet to come. But yeah, we keep saying, oh, no, there's nothing to worry about the housing market. With high inflation and them basically playing this game that they don't know what to do, go back to the statins for a second here because we have an expert witness on this, Miss Carolyn. Thank you very much for sharing. She's like, I can't take statins. Makes every bone in my body hurt. I told my doc I'd rather die from a stroke than hurt every day. Made the doc mad. Too bad. Now get this. Get this. Because the fact that the doctors are willing, to let you go through pain because they know better. You remember, I had to fire my previous doctor last year. Only had him barely a year, but he was fired because of the fact that he lied about the side effects of certain medications and what they would have on me. He changed his tune because he's following the money science. Hey, Carrie, thank you for joining and being part of the program. So I'm getting a notification here that I'm going Brad Staggs, who comes on at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Daily Mojo, and I'm doing a Brad Staggs to one of the listeners, one of the not just a faithful listener, but a faithful hoster and sharer on Mojo 5 Radio. We appreciate Jamie. She's got a lot of it, and she's got a lot of data that she likes to share. And holy moly guacamole. Where did that go? I've got too many windows, boo-boo. Too many windows, boo-boo. Gotta sit there and see if I can find this, and I'll go there and I'll catch her message and go back to that in a second there. Housing market crashing. I told you. Like I said, there's a lot to cover here. So let's get into the next one. Because this is from the expert Witless. I made that screen too big and I lost my data. There it is. Here you go. Oh yeah, here it is. California to unveil plan tomorrow that will see sales of new gas cars banned by 2035 and force all to be electric only. California will start the ban on the sale of new gasoline-powered vehicles Thursday, which was first announced in 2020. The goal is to stop the sale of all new gasoline vehicles by 2035. This, according to the state official, aims to reduce smog and combat climate change. And I bet you the people who've got the statistics, they're flying all over the world to let you know how bad climate change really is. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. This is pretty sad. This is pretty pathetic. And if you're still in California, knowing how bad they are, you're wasting your time. Get out of Cali as fast as you possibly can. Trust me. Jamie's like, what is that? Climate change? Never. Yeah, Robert Phillips, they're making a huge mistake by going all green. China owns the rare earth minerals needed to make the batteries. Yeah, but the thing about it is that if you keep lying to the people and you don't really get clear on what is, yeah, we're going to have a lot of trouble. Oh, I like this. Okay, yeah, so this has got to be one that, thank you, Lep, because of the humor. Got to get this one in. He says, climate change is as real as Biden receiving 81 million votes. Yeah, yes, so too hilarious. I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, great sir. I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Again, here it is. We are being misled by the expert witless, not the expert witness. The eyewitness. Instead of the eyewitness. The eyewitless. That's what, yeah, I should have called this eyewitness. I should have titled this broadcast Eyewitness News. Too funny. Got it. Let's move on to the next one, because listen, if you're still living in California, in light of the insanity of what they're doing, if you're still in California by not even 2035, 25. No. 2024. I'm going to give you 2 years to get out of California. If you still there, that's on you. That's on you. I left New York 26 years ago, and I'm not looking back. No, thank you. No desire to be there. So this is really interesting, and this is really sad to see where we are. Let's get into you know what? We have enough time for this? Yes, we do have enough time for this one. Okay, so now here's one situation where this is really bad, and what I want to do with the expert Witless on this next story, because this one is very sad. This one's very bad. Black pastor cuffed by cops while watering neighbors' plants. Watering. Yeah, waiting for my wife to start giggling on the timeline. Black pastor cuffed by cops while watering neighbors' plants. Feared that they would put a bullet in his back. And you know what? Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think there's some merit to concerns on this one.
I don't live here.
Okay. They're saying that this vehicle is not supposed to be here and you're not supposed to be here.
Who's saying that?
They called about it. I don't know who called.
I'm supposed to be here. I'm Pastor Jennings. I live across the street.
You're Pastor Jennings?
Yes, I'm looking out for their house while they gone.
Okay.
Watering their flowers.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Now, do you have like ID and all?
Oh, no, man. I'm not going to give you no ID.
Why not?
I ain't did nothing wrong. And did
well, look, listen. I'm not saying do nothing wrong.
Now, here's a story that's on this, okay? So he identifies himself as Pastor Jennings. I live across the street, okay? Now, he's watering the house. He lives across the street, so he doesn't have to drive over. Someone doesn't recognize the van. There's a black man who's over there watering the plants. Now, this is pretty bad because whoever called the police just made an assumption for a guy standing there with a hose watering the plants. This is pretty bad, okay? This is pretty bad on here. And what makes this matter worse, he's a retired cop. He's a retired cop, so he knows his rights. He knows his rights. He's asked for ID. What criminal sits there watering the house? What criminal sits there watering the house? He said, that's not my vehicle, but my name is Pastor Jennings. I live across the street. He's identified himself. He says, I live across the street. So this continues to get bad, and it's very sad.
Doc, listen,
There's a suspicious person.
Look, I used to be a police officer in Goodwater. Don't come here with that. Okay?
Look, man, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
There's a suspicious person in the yard, and if you're not one to identify yourself.
I don't have to identify myself. It's not a stop and identify state. That guy know me. He came to my store that got broke in. I live right over there across the street. Who calls y'all?
That's what we got to figure out. But first,
who calls?
he
don't
live
here.
I'm not saying nothing about.
You have no right to approach me if I ain't did nothing suspicious or nothing wrong. Told him I'm a pastor. I pastor, and I don't want to hear you.
Sir.
You want to lock me up?
So the situation devolves. The situation devolves. The situation is going to be bad because of the fact that he identified himself as a pastor who lives across the street. He's watering their house. He's done nothing suspicious. He's expressed who he is. And worse, they put him in cuffs. They literally put him in cuffs as he's saying, why are you guys bothering me? He's just dealing with taking care of the neighbor's house. He's identified himself, and all they have to do is saying, okay, you're sitting here, this is what you're doing. Again, watering someone's house, how many criminals sit there watering their neighbor's plants? How many? And he's a pastor who lives in that community? Yeah. Not cool, folks. Not cool at all. So let's do this. Let's go to a break because I'm going to lose my mind up in here. Up in here. In John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, a lot of Christians are going to, or quote-unquote Christians, are going to tell you that there are many ways to heaven. Sorry. The only means of getting to heaven is through God's grace, or by God's grace. There's nothing we can do. There are no good works that we can accomplish. There are no great deeds that we can do, because the moment that we say that we can do something good to get ourselves into heaven or just be good people, into getting into God's heaven, where Jesus is the requirement, God's grace is the requirement, you're destined for hell. I'm sorry, there's just no other way to say it. Please, stop following the lies from the people in the world who have nothing to gain except your eternal damnation and misery. Hear the truth. The only means to heaven is through Jesus Christ. No other way. Accept him, please, before it's too late. Thank you. Are you tired of living from paycheck to paycheck? Are there more days at the end of the week and the end of the month than there's money in your bank account? Have you heard of a budget? Have you ever even heard of Dave Ramsey? Well, before we get into there, why don't we consider the 3 steps for financial freedom and remove you from the frustrations that are driving you up the wall right now? Start with prayer. That's the first step. Have a conversation with God, and he can get you on the right track to make sure that you're doing things the right way. The second step would be looking into Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Great stories of people who were in the same position as you were and how I used to be in the past. And they can show you that it does work. His plan does work, but you have to change your mindset and how you look at money. And then the third step is looking into Financial Peace University. This is what you take after reading Total Money Makeover. Trust me, this plan works. And I assure you, you will be living a lot better than you ever could before when you get a budget. Look into it now. Triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prenate from Battle for Freedom on Mojo Fiber Radio, and we're here to talk today. We're talking about calling the expert witless, or calling the eye witless. There's a couple of big comments that came over in the comments. I want to get this. Jamie was basically saying, I want to know what's wrong with the neighbor that called the police. Amen. Because you know what? She shows up later and there's just like, oh yeah, I know him. They're friends. They're friends. So yeah. So as Carrie calls, the Karen of Ken or Ken's could have come over and asked him who he was. Some folks need to just stay in their lane. That's correct. That's correct, Amundo. Earlier we were talking about the issue of electric vehicles. California going to ban these, and what was it? Brandon said you would be correct. They had rolling blackouts already because the grid can't keep up. Yes, and so this is a problem. This is a problem that we're dealing with. That the experts aren't counting the costs for this. There was who did this? I forgot who it was. There was a person who broke down on Fox News. He broke down the cost of what it would need to justify the cost of spending the money on an electric vehicle. And remember, the president they just issued a $740 or $760 billion package, and people can get $7,000 towards their electric vehicle. That's and here's the hubris, and here's the fun. This is the funny part about them even offering the $7,000 in the midst of high inflation, when people they're paying almost $7,000 for their general food. Their general budgets have gone up $7,000, but I can barely afford food, but you're going to give me enough money to afford or work towards paying for an electric vehicle. That's not guaranteed to be approved. That's not guaranteed to be approved. And what are the specs of these cars, too, the electric vehicles? How many people can sit in the cars? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 10? Because what if you have a family? Are they saying that you can't have your family drive all over the world, that we just have to stay put if you have more than one? Think about this. The current models for most of these eco-friendly cars are too small to house families with more than 4. You're penalized for having a family. You're penalized for doing something natural by embracing something unnatural like green energy policies. Yeah, this is just dumb. But let's move on to something crazier because they're back. Yes, folks. Yes, folks. Gotta love these individuals because we gotta appreciate. FBI whistleblower claims that the Bureau leaders ordered staff not to investigate Hunter Biden laptop and told them that the FBI is not going to change the outcome of the election again. So basically, because 4 years prior that they share the stuff about Hillary Clinton and servers and so much more, they say that that is what caused the election shift. Yeah. So they refuse to share the data. They're going out of their way to show data about Donald Trump, but no data about the Clintons, no data about the Bidens, no data. I'm just going to leave that one alone because my blood pressure is rising just a little bit. Hey, Brenda, thank you for being part of the program. Really appreciate you. Holy moly guacamole. They're not going to investigate this. But everybody who's sitting there, Donald Trump is as corrupt as they come. The family's making all this money. I'm telling you, I really believe that the reason why, yes, I believe that Donald Trump's arrogance played a part in his loss, but I don't believe 2020 and this administration is because so much of the failure of Donald Trump. I really believe I on the pendulum of where I believe that where we are on this. I think Donald Trump's hubris could play, and this is just my assumption. It plays 24% of the reason why Joe Biden is president of the United States of America. I think that the heavy side of the pendulum as to why Joe Biden is president is for all the alleged 81 million voters who thought that this administration would be better, that this administration would be less corrupt, that this administration would be less tyrannical, that this administration would be for everyone. We've watched continued lockdowns, but not only lockdowns, mandates for vaccines to work, from a person who said that they would not do that. We saw we would have transparency, but there's been zero transparency from this administration. Spending money over and over and over again. And here it is. We're seeing uber levels of corruption. We're literally seeing a Nazi-style, communistic-style regime in power right now. And most of you continue to think that this is better, a better economy, a better America. Yeah. Alrighty then. We've had under this administration not just the barbarism in government, but the barbarism in the education system. Oh yeah, I didn't share this one from the other day, and I can't show his face, but there was a school, I think it was in New Jersey, that had this pedophile, a black man who was a pedophile, a year after he was busted for soliciting he was as a teacher or some kind of administrator in the school or a counselor who was busted for soliciting child services. And the school kept him on a year after he was busted. These are the same very people who tell you, well, they're the educated ones and they know better. And parents, you don't own your kids when they come into our schools. So when we sit here and we tell you that there are pedophiles in this administration, there are pedophiles in the schools, there are pedophiles not just in the churches that you want to highlight, But in the educational institutions that we're supposed to trust and follow their science and their knowledge and their degrees and their education and their better perspective of life, the expert witnesses are proving to be very corrupt. No, we don't want to keep our children in your care. And then we sit there and we wonder why our kids are on so many different drugs. I dare say that most of the afflictions that are taking place with our kids are happening in the public school institutions. They're being indoctrinated. Yes. Oh yeah. Keep key on this. James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, August 30th. Let's see, 5 days from now, that they're going to be unveiling multiple tapes of the indoctrination, the indoctrination system that's happening to our kids who keep the pedophiles and the teachers who are in these relationships. How do you ignore these relationships where these teachers are engaged in sexual encounters with kids that they know they shouldn't be doing this with? This has been going on for decades. Despite, and remember too, because if we just put more common sense teaching laws or education laws in there, that would probably make these teachers stop doing this, right? Kind of like more common sense gun laws would actually stop violent crimes. Well, maybe we just need more common sense education laws that tells teachers not to engage with your students, even though we still have it happening decades and months and weeks and days and hours, minutes and seconds later. But you're the eyewitness where I would dare say you were the eyewitness. You're the witless experts. You're not witness experts. Sorry. But I'm just tired of this nonsense. This clear corruption is happening with this administration. Clear corruption. A clear racist in the White House. Again, Donald Trump is not a racist. He's an opportunist. He's an opportunist. But we have documented in video Joe Biden saying the N-word multiple times, not pausing before saying it clear and not holding back. Hey, you remember, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So the color of your skin, your ethnicity, is dependent on being allegiant to your allegiance to the Democrat Party, the Democrat presidential candidate. That's your allegiance. That determines your ethnicity. Not how you were born, how you vote. That's not racist. I mean, what else do you need? But there's more. Let's move on from that one here. But I say there's more. Shazam, wham. I mean, you want to talk about, let's get into this guy here.
If you make under $125,000, you get $10,000 knocked off your student debt. If you make under $125,000 a year and you received a Pell Grant, you'll get an additional $10,000 knocked off that total, for a total of $20,000 relief. 95% of the borrowers can benefit from these actions. That's 43 million people. Of the 43 million, over 60% recipients, that's 27 million people who will get $20,000 in debt relief. Nearly 45% can have their student debt fully canceled.
Now, this is completely a ploy to get votes for this December. The Democrats' numbers are tanking in their popularity. It's stuff like this is what has us with high record gas prices and everything else. Food prices, inflation. And instead of changing, because again, the expert Witless is spending more money to fix money problems. And the worst part about it is, because I'm telling you, yeah, this is the crux of everything. This Carrie says dementia equals demented. So Dave Ramsey puts out a comment, and you know how much I appreciate Dave Ramsey. Now, he's wrong about the housing market, but about living debt-free, he's right on the money on that one. Let's go to what Dave Ramsey said on this situation, because this is pretty key. This is key on what he has said with this. What did I do there? Yep, there you go. Let's get rid of that. Because, again, Joe Biden basically makes a statement along the lines of, you know, people were asking towards the end, hey, dude, how do you justify doing all this? Let's see. Let's do the numbers on this. This is what the numbers say. The true cost of Biden's student loan ploy. Models predict debt levels will return in just 4 years. It will cost each taxpayer at least $2,000, drive inflation higher, and cost more than $300 billion, and leaves out those who did pay. There's no way to make up for this. Biden under fire for making a bizarre defense when asked if it's unfair for people who paid in full. The president asked if tax breaks are fair to those who do in fact who do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses. Biden deflected when asked whether canceling between $10,000 and $20,000 per borrowers is fair to those who work to pay their way through college. See, because we don't want to have that discussion. Hey, why are we passing more bills? And the worst part about it is that this idea of getting for free? No. But see, let's go with what Dave Ramsey said, and let's go with what Davey Boy says, and so I can help you understand this and set the stage on this, because there is a person who decided that they wanted to comment and leave some ignorant statement, but here you go. There are a lot of mixed emotions across the United States today. On one hand, people with federal student loans making less than $125,000 per year will now have $10,000 of their student loans forgiven. For those who are also below that income amount and received a Pell Grant in college, they will have $20,000 of their loans forgiven. Awesome. We're celebrating with you. On the other hand, there are people who worked hard to pay for their children's way through school. I have some friends who have definitely done that, and their kids graduated debt-free, no student loans, or have already paid their loans off, and they are not happy, and they have every right to be angry. They are pretty pissed off, too, for you, too. We're pretty pissed off for you, too. This all comes with a price tag, $300 billion. Who pays that bill? The taxpayers. This is not free money. It will come at a price. This is what Thomas Massie has been saying, Rand Paul, and many other people. Ron Paul and countless other individuals. This is not free money. We're living in inflation right now because Obama, Trump, and Biden kept writing checks of money that the government was going to assist people with, but that money comes from us. Hello? We keep telling you this, but we keep writing checks against our children, against our posterity. But we don't have the educated degrees. We're not educated. We haven't gone to the Ivy League schools, and we don't have all those letters behind our names. So we don't qualify. No. I still say that you took out all those loans for the school year. You're the one who decided to put yourself in debt. But I'm the one who's dumb because I'm still living in an apartment? Because I'm not living in a house? Because I didn't decide to take advantage of the low interest rates and pay more for a house than it was worth? Some of these houses are nearing 200% their value, listed 200% their value. But I'm the dumb one. And many of these colleges that you go to, they're 300-400% the value of a local university that gets the same exact thing done, and you can probably get that loan paid off in less than 2-3 years tops. If you did take that loan out, which I highly discourage. Save up the money for the school and pay it outright. You know, This is ridiculous. Oh, Carrie says, how about all the ones who are sitting at home getting a welfare check and doing nothing? Yeah, but the government keeps writing that check. Well, we need more money. We need to tax the rich. No, you need to put more people to work. What is it, 47%, no, 53% of Americans are not working, are not contributing? So he says, if this crisis is so horrible, it is, they are actually forgiving $10,000 worth of loans, then why aren't they going to stop making student loans? It makes no sense, and this problem will just continue to hurt Americans. Exactly. See, you solve this problem by, my buddy Scott said this. He says, if you stop student loans, the cost of school goes down. The cost of universities and college and higher education went through the ceiling the moment the government says, hey, we've got money for you. Because of the fact that everybody was paying, taxpayers were paying more money because the government kept giving out our money. Think about this. So you basically took out a loan on your own money to pay for a loan for a school or a car or a vehicle or a house or whatever that you could have saved up and put money in the bank for and just paid right out in cash. Every last one of us if every last one of us who takes out a loan, we're taking out a loan on our own money. Or money that we could have if we would just wait and be patient. A lot of people right now whose houses are going to be upside down. The loans are going to be upside down because they had to get that great deal and the low interest rates. I only know a few people who really locked in at a great price for a great house, and I only know a few. Everybody else has paid way over the value of what they should on the house. My family we're waiting. For those of you who still have tens or hundreds of thousands worth of student loan debt to pay off, we are still with you. And you still have the ability to fight your way out of this mess. Don't forget, meth. Yeah, you got to be a meth to take these loans. Don't forget, no matter what impact today's news has on you personally, you are in charge of your life, and your future success is thanks to your hard work and sacrifice. Do not give up. We will be here cheering you on every step of the way. And you have to understand, because there are a lot of people, they're the Dave haters, that people have Dave derangement syndrome, or Dave Ramsey, Dr. DRDS, Dave Ramsey derangement syndrome. And so, yeah, let's go to this one response by this one person, because this one is stinking hilarious. This woman replies on here, sorry, but I disagree with your assessment regarding folks who are angry because they paid off their loans without loan forgiveness. From what I've seen, such complainants, or it should be complainants or complainants, I don't know. Either way, complainants, probably, let's work with that one, are not saying benign things like arguing that forgiveness should have happened sooner. Instead, their angry remarks generally boil down to, I suffer through loan repayment, so others should too. It's a position that is really lacking. Hold on a second here. This just doesn't make sense. I gotta sneeze. Sorry. So they're saying that the position is lacking, right? And this is pretty sad and it's pretty pathetic. My goodness. So I looked at this person's timeline, and there's a couple of different things that this person had gone through. Rebecca Haynes, she's an author. Rebecca Haynes, she's an author. Yeah. And so some of the comments that were made on this were pretty sad. I'm actually going to put her Facebook profile. So I'll let you assess Mrs. Dr. Haynes, PhD. It's in the, you can look at the comments on Facebook and you can see exactly who this individual is. But, you know, I was going through her timeline and she was like, can you guys give me some things that'll basically counteract what this. So here's one of the main comments that was on the timeline for her. If you're a Christian and you're big mad about the possibility of student loan debt being canceled, let me remind you that the entirety of your faith is built upon a debt you couldn't pay, that someone stepped in and paid for you. See, now this is where you deal with the witless. Okay? This is, yes, Jamie, she breaks down. She writes about gender, race, and popular culture. Yeah. Let's talk about how witless she is. Because yes, the statement, the basis of the entirety of our faith is built on the fact that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins, right? Now, that statement's true, but it's wrapped in a lie. Because this whole thing and this whole process that someone else paid your debt, it works if one person in their entirety, if one person stepped in this bill and it said, we will charge Warren Buffett, all the student loans are forgiven because Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos decide that they're going to cover this bill for you. The one person is going to cover it. But that's not the case. Because every American citizen who pays taxes will be covering that. That's not Christianity. Christianity is not based on the reality that a whole bunch of other people died for our sins so that we could be saved. No, our faith is built on one person being qualified and powerful enough and rich enough and holy enough to take on that debt. But her idea, see, this is when you walk away from demons, because that's what this woman is. She's demonic. Where she sits here and she tries, they try and step into our box, into our arena, and they don't even have the uniform to engage. This is the reason why we be very careful in the people that we engage, because some of them are witless. And go back to the old proverb: never argue with a friend, never argue with a fool, because they will bring you down to their level and beat you up with experience. It's not worth it to engage on this. Stay away, walk away, stay away. Because it profits you nothing to be engaged with these individuals who are completely clueless. And there were a lot of people who were just laughing. And I corrected. I said, listen, no, this is based on a falsehood. This is not the case. That Christianity, the debt being paid by Christ is the same as the debt being paid by the government. But did you get that, though? Did you get that? This is how much they think they're that important, and they think that they're gods. That they're equating the government's assistance with student loan forgiveness with eternal forgiveness by the blood of Christ. Oh, blood's being shed. It's the blood of Americans. It's the blood of our children. It's the blood of our posterity. It's the blood of our future that's paying a debt that can't be paid. See, that's the thing about it. When Christ died, he covered the debt for all humanity, past, present, and future. Not this thing. Like you said, the debt's going to come back in 4 years. The debt's going to come back in 4 years. So this idea of we're being saved by this, folks, this is how you know you're witless. See, here's a funny thing about it. This is one last thing quickly on this with this woman. If you go to her homepage, Dr. Rebecca Haynes, she has an article saying racist white children. Yeah, let's see. Raising white children to be anti-racist, raising our children to be allies to people of color requires intentional choices in parenting, but it's a goal within reach. Kind of like ending crimes with reasonable common sense laws against guns. Don't engage, folks. Don't engage. I look at this picture on here. What's so funny about this is this woman she's got a marker on a board she's using as a pointer, and there's nothing on the board. I think that's a lot like our government. They're pointing to something that's not there. They're pointing to something that's not there. I'm your host, Watson Prettier from Battle for Freedom of Mojo Fiber Radio. Please take care. God bless. Because we're in a lot of trouble. Calling the expert Witless to the stand. Calling the expert Witless.